Hey everybody, this is the show called Box Seats. This is the show where we talk about sports with comedians. We have a great time. In case this is your first time tuning in, this is the show we talk about all the sports. We talk about everything, everything that happened on the weekend. And being that this weekend is in particular is pretty special since we basically have the NFL weekend in review. We've got some things that we got to talk about. We had some great games we had to talk about. It was just a fun-filled weekend overall. So before I dive in, let me first bring in one of the comedians who's going to be joining the show. One of my good friends, Dave, the business bully. He's been known throughout the whole country of handling comedy and business. Dave, how you doing, bro? How's everything?
Listen, I don't know if you know this, but I'm feeling great.
I bet, yeah, I figured that part. I figured that part you were. Also, let me bring in ex-NBA player, 17-year vet in the game, my man. I call him Big O. You all will know him as Olden Polynese. Big O, how you doing, bro? How was your weekend?
I'm good. Weekends, okay. We're dealing with madness. So
yeah, I understand. Oh, you good though? Everything good?
Yeah.
You good?
Oh yeah.
That's good to hear. That's excellent to hear. All right, so before we dive into this, man, and I'm gonna start out with you, Big O. What was your biggest surprise of the weekend, if you had any?
My biggest surprise wasn't really a surprise. It was actually it was after the weekend on Monday with the Vikings-Rams game. Seeing how they played. I mean, compared to their record, it's weird, but the two games they lost were to the Rams and the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it was surprising. I thought it was going to be a better game, a better fought game, but I thought the Rams they were playing for more than just football.
Right.
And I think that made a big difference.
100%. Dave, what was your biggest surprise of the weekend? Even though I know you expected the Eagles to win, what was your biggest surprise?
I mean, do birds fly? Does the sun rise? Do you breathe air, Frank? No, the biggest surprise for me, man, was the Texans over the Chargers, man. I mean, my God, there are games, there are upsets, and then there are just blowouts. And to me,
Right.
aside from my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, this was the most entertaining thing on television.
Yeah, I can't even disagree with you. That's why, that was going to be my first thing I was going to jump in. Because to me, my biggest surprise, I mean, the Minnesota Vikings game, I wasn't too surprised they lost because, they had lost them before. My biggest surprise was how the Houston Texans came in. They literally had a can of whoop ass out there, bro, and they literally put it to the Chargers. So that was my biggest surprise. You know what I mean? So let me ask you about the Chargers. Let's focus on this. The Chargers game, they ended up playing against the Houston Texans. They had a great time. By winning and everything else, and people were walking away disappointed. Obviously everybody's talking about the fires, things like this. Do you think right now that Kansas City is overlooking the Houston Texans? Because no one's talking about Houston, and Houston didn't they just beat them? They beat them handily. Their defense was, I mean, wow. I was shocked. Are we looking at this the wrong way? Are we not paying attention to the Houston Texans? What you think, Big O?
Well, I don't know if we're overlooking the Texans. I just believe that they stepped up. I don't know if Rex Ryan's comments had anything to do with it, calling it a bye game or bye week. And so to me, and also as a professional athlete, if you need motivation like that, then you should not be doing the job you're doing. But also, I just thought they just played a solid game, on every level. And the Chargers, maybe they heard Rex Ryan's comments and, thought, yeah, we are the better team. We should win. And they relaxed. So I'm not too concerned about them in regards to the Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs are still the best team in football, two-time defending champions going for a third. That's going to be motivation for them. It's the fact that they have a chance to do something that's rarely done. And so to me, they've been resting guys. And the funny thing about it, the games they've won, we can say whatever we want. They won them. Mm-hmm. So if it's luck, if it's skill, whatever the hell it is, they won those games. Games they should have lost, they didn't lose. And that bodes well for them because when they really start playing well, look out.
Yeah, the future is really bright for the Houston Texans, Dave. I mean, no matter how you may look at it, you may be a hater of the Houston Texans. The future is really, really bright.
Yeah. I think it's this, man. I think a lot of people, including the Chiefs, are thinking that this is absolutely nothing. Everybody, like, rain falls on the just and the unjust. A fat boy's going to get a biscuit at the end of the day. They're not thinking that this is a formidable threat. It's like when I was a kid, I used to every 6 months or every year or so, Mike Tyson would have a fight, and Mr. Gary next door would order the fight, and all the neighborhood kids would come, and he'd go in the back and get some chips. And by the time he came out with the bowl of chips, Tyson had knocked the dude out. Well, I remember one time there was this one kid whose mama was dying, and her last thing that she said was, "My baby's going to win the heavyweight championship." And after Mike Tyson knocked his behind down, something clicked, and Buster Douglas beat the brakes off him. And then you look at the end of that daggone match, and you know where Don King was? In Buster's corner. That's how quick something can change. And if the Chiefs overlook the Texans, they're going to have a rude awakening, defending champs or not.
100%. So before I even continue on with this, the news keeps popping up. I'm looking at the news at the same time. I got to press a pause on the weekend in review just to ask you this, Big O. Deion Sanders is continuously being in the news for what's going on with Dallas Cowboys. I think it's like you laughing. I think it's a joke myself. I think it's a news ploy. Being that you're an ex-athlete, bro, talk to me about Cowboys possibly hiring primetime. Like, what's your thing on this, bro?
Well, first of all, I have overload, sensory overload on a lot of these people, whether it's Deion Sanders, Kevin Hart, Shaquille, and I just have, y'all got to take some of these people off the damn TV. I can't keep seeing them all the time. I'm sorry. It's overload, and now all of a sudden, you've done this at Colorado. Your kids, are leaving. Okay, it's a great opportunity, but what about the young men that you're leaving behind that trust you? And sign there, a couple of guys are transferring into Colorado. So I don't think he's going to take the job, but I think, the fact that he's being interviewed bodes well for him as far as what he's done at Colorado. But again, whoever takes this Cowboys job, Lord have mercy, it comes with a lot of baggage. And I don't know if Deion wants to do that. When you played for Jerry Jones, you were a player. It was way different. And I think Deion has set himself up great at Colorado, where he has a lot of cachet. That's not going to happen with the Cowboys. Jerry Jones was, and always will be the HWIC.
Dave, I couldn't have said it any better than where he just said it, but but you tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I mean, yeah, first of all, the W stands for wafer. In case you guys were wondering, it stands for wafer. Okay. And we're not going to waffle on this situation, but we're going to talk about actual facts here. The one thing that I will say, having known Deion Sanders personally for a number of years and also worked with him on his first reality show and then as a backup for Ricky, I will tell you that there's nothing that man can't do. Mm-hmm. The other part of that is, if we're going to be honest, and I know you're going to say, but Dave, you hate the Cowboys. Everybody hates the Cowboys. But Deion
That's Sanders, a good impression.
Right? Oh, listen, my Frank Holder has levels. Now, Dave, we're going to talk about this. What are your thoughts? I need you to understand that aside from me being a Cowboys fan and lovingly liking to stick it to my man Charlemagne, who's a diehard Cowboys fan, I am going to tell you that anything Deion Sanders would do if he actually took this position, and this wasn't some star-studded all-star Rooney Rule type of situation, would be by and large better than what they had. You can say whatever you want. You saw what happened when a player took over in Philadelphia. It happens a lot when players understand how it goes. Take the WWE, for instance. Vince McMahon was doing some cuckoo stuff. All of a sudden, Triple H steps up, and we got $1 billion situation with Netflix. Players have a different understanding on what it means to be on the field, in the field, on the court. I think if it's real, the fact that everything's going to sell more, I think everything is going to be heightened and elevated. But I'm with O on this one. If we could just get Deion and Kev and Fat Joe and a couple other people just to take a break from our television, we can actually see that there's 5 other people in Hollywood who have survived the fires, because God knows, you would think that they're covering for everybody. And that was before the fires got started.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to kill him for my impression on me.
It was good though.
I don't know about that, but I love Dave. He's funny. He's funny. So what about Mike McCarthy though, bro? Everybody's not looking at the repercussions. Nobody's talking about how Dallas handled all this. Nobody's talking about Jerry Jones. Everybody just
Come on now. It's Dallas doing Dallas stuff. Why are you surprised right now?
I'm not.
It's Dallas being Dallas. The old saying, what is it? When Tony Romo was there, accident waiting to happen. Well, guess what? Mike McCarthy was put in this tricky situation. Plus, they had the injuries and everything else. So, they never talk about that stuff. It's similar, not to, change subject, but it's my man with the Patriots, Jared Mayo.
Yep.
So Belichick had a 4-13 team, the greatest coach ever. So you give the same team to Mayo and expect what? Miracles in 1 year? No, it was a gap stop, and that's what they do with these black coaches. They put them in for that 1 year until they go get the guy they wanted all along, And so it's a shame, but it's the same thing with the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy's definitely going to get another job. We know that, because he's Mike McCarthy. But at the same time, it's the Cowboys being the Cowboys. They're going to the man, Jerry Jones came out, hey, we're denying the request of the Bears. And then you fire. Come on, man, stop it.
Yeah, I'm still shocked that they fired him. So, Big O, let me.
No, they parted ways.
They parted ways, right? They parted ways. They did like the Red Sea. They parted. Right, Dave? They parted ways, right?
Absolutely. They spread them apart like cheeks in Magic City, Frank. It was
damn.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a show here.
Cheeks in Magic City, bro. All right, let me talk about the Packers and the Eagles, Big O. I'm gonna talk about the Packers and the Eagles. I watched that game. I'm gonna take away. I know Dave's gonna get mad about this, but I'm sorry. Just Dave, I still love you, bro. The Eagles didn't look like the Eagles to me the entire game. They looked like, or maybe they was half asleep. Maybe they was bored. So let me ask you, Big O. Should we be concerned with the Eagles moving forward because they didn't look like their powerhouse selves just 3 weeks ago, or was it just because it was the Packers?
No, I'm not concerned about the Eagles, and I say that just from watching them play throughout the year. They're solid, top to bottom. I think the big key is what Saquon has done. That running game it's a problem for defenses because you have to know where Saquon Barkley is at all times. And it opens up your passing and receiving packages. So to me, I really like the Eagles. And so it wasn't a fluke or anything else. I just thought the only thing I'm upset about the Eagles about is resting him and not letting him go for the record. That's the only thing. And I thought that was going to bite them in the butt, resting him, taking it. Because sometimes, man, I try to tell people, man, and we saw it in the college games. All the teams that got buys got popped in the head. And so to me, when you're on a roll, you want to keep going on a roll. You don't want to all of a sudden stop everybody's momentum, man. It's whack.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Let me bring the Eagles fan. We sitting there. He can't. Go ahead, Dave. Tell me what you thought.
I've been doing the show for years now, Frank, and I keep trying to tell y'all, y'all can bet against the Eagles all y'all want. See that one season where we only had 2 losses, y'all can, you just go say the Eagles going to win, and then they won. Let me explain something to you. Well, the Eagles weren't looking that good. They won. A win is a win. I mean, last I checked, what was that? 10-22? That 12 points is more than enough to me. And this whole time, I thought O was Haitian. I did not realize he was from Philly like me. Who knew? I'm ready to tell this man Sac Passe, and he's like, yo, the ball's flowing right now. So
I'm not from Philly, man.
You're just a man with common sense. That's why I like that, man. So listen, we're going to be just fine. And I think the thing that people need to understand is I am with O on this. You let Saquon Barkley do what Saquon Barkley does. And that's just what it is. We have not been this excited over a Barkley since 1992. Okay? So when I tell you it is a great time to be an Eagles fan, Frank, I mean, are cheesesteaks made with fried onions or not? Yes.
But you know what's crazy?
What?
With this season? Sirianni was on the hot seat.
Yeah.
That's the most insane thing. Sirianni was on the hot seat, and then
if they lose, I mean to cut you off, but if they lose and they don't get to the Super Bowl, I think he'd still be on the hot seat. Don't you think?
Hey, this is the NFL. Everybody's on the hot seat. You win one year, and you'll fight the next. So that's the nature of the business right now.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask this question. It's still with the Eagles.
Yeah.
The whole AJ Brown thing with the book. I mean, is he not expected to at least support his teammates in the moment? I'm just asking for a friend.
Well, I got the friend who can answer that. Dave can answer that about the book because that's his lane, Dave.
Listen, I will tell you this. I'm a person who has written 22 books. 21 of them have been bestsellers. And what you ain't going to do is stop me from getting my money. Okay? I'm going to get my bread. AJ Brown is no difference. I think there's nothing wrong with looking to read something as positive as inner excellence on the sideline, because sometimes you need to encourage yourself. Even the Bible says that. I don't see like, why is it we get mad when athletes get on television and they're speaking to old girl with the horrible wig, Pam Oliver, and they're like,
"Oh damn!
Well, you know, Pam's Oz is trying to get the balls through the uprights, Miss Pam, and Oz just trying to do the best I can." And this brother is actually reading a book, not like LeBron in a press conference, who had the book upside down and was on page 1, which didn't even have the table of contents on it. So now we're critiquing a player for sitting at the sideline and reading a book and possibly encouraging his team. Y'all acting like he Kaepernick 10 years ago, kneeling. Like, what do you want from these people? So he's dumb if he don't read nothing, and he's a problem if he does read. He wasn't flashing nobody. He didn't take his uniform off and flip people off. This man read. When is the last time you seen anybody, an Eagles fan, an Eagles water boy, an Eagles front office person reading a book? I would think that you would be happy that we're not punching somebody in the mouth.
Yeah, you always get the last word. Oh, he know what he's saying about that. So let me ask you that. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I have no comments.
All right, let me move on, man. I got to talk about the Baltimore Ravens, man, because the Baltimore Ravens looked really good this weekend. Oh, yeah, they look phenomenal this weekend. After you watched the Baltimore Ravens game, what was your takeaway after watching the Ravens game? Because I had a couple myself. What was your takeaway? Oh,
well, it was a weird game for me to watch because, again, you know, Mike Tomlin and I are good friends, and I want him to always do well. But I knew going into that game there was no way in hell they would beat the Baltimore Ravens. Right. No way in hell. And so it was kind of bittersweet for me. But Lamar Jackson playing the way he has and having a better season than his MVP years is the most insane thing. And then you bring on Derrick Henry. Come on, man. It's almost like when Durant went to the Warriors. It's like overkill. Mm-hmm. And so to me, they are another team. But the Ravens are an insanely talented team. And I like what they did last week. Albeit, you know, I don't know. The Steelers got a lot of problems. So that's a rough gauge. I think the Buffalo game is the one. This next week is going to tell us everything we need to know about who's going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think
I think one of those two teams is going to get there.
I think so too. Shout out to Rodney Perry. He joined.
Sorry, I didn't mean to leave the Eagles out.
It's all good. It's all good.
Eagles in the NFC, so he ain't worried about that.
I'm not really worried.
Dave, look, give me a shout out, man, and tell me what your thoughts on the Ravens-Steelers game and what the repercussions could be after the Steelers went home, because I have a couple of repercussions that I wanted to throw out there myself.
Well, there's a couple of things, Frank. The first thing is people need to take this time and put some attention on Pennsylvania. Every 10 minutes, someone goes missing in Pennsylvania and they're unaccounted for, just like the Steelers defense for 3/4 of that game, Frank. I'm trying to understand where they were. All of a sudden, they could not stop any offense that was happening up until the fourth quarter, where basically it was a stalemate type of situation. I think Baltimore has their stuff together. And then the other part of that, and I hate to say it because my wife is a diehard Steelers fan, and given the fact that she married me, it's clear there's no accounting for taste. But what I want you to pay attention to is the fact that the Steelers are the blackest team in the NFL. So Of course they relate to the party. Oh, am I lying? Statistically?
Well, I don't know. The Ravens, well, you could say the Ravens, but
Ravens
got a black head coach too?
Okay.
No, but he damn near.
He almost. A couple of press conferences. I know y'all nice people. no, I need to get back here to my team, but I'm going to answer some questions. I think the thing that people need to keep in mind is that people are looking to make different moves when it comes to this particular season. And everything is not as guaranteed as it appears to be on paper. We're past the John Madden X's and O's on the board type of situation. Everybody can get a moment, and that moment can change the course of what it's going to look like for your fantasy football team, even with wild cards, even with these playoffs, man. So,
Big O, since your boy is Mike Tomlin, do you think he's gonna get rid of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson? Because Kirk Cousins is sitting out there, bro. He just sitting there, and everybody's speculating that he's gonna get rid of those two and bring in Kirk. What's your thoughts on that?
They can speculate all they want. I thought both guys played well. See, you got to understand something. I've always said this in regards to football. It is the hardest game, okay, to critique. Because everybody's dumping on Russell Wilson. The man went 20 for 29, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns. They lost 24-14 or whatever the score was. But it's like Russell Wilson does not play defense. And so to me, you got to look at it objectively and say, okay, the defense didn't play well. They didn't stop them. And so to me, I thought both guys played well. I thought Justin Fields did a great job early on in the season. No, he cannot throw long and everything else. That maybe that's something he needs to work on in the offseason, arm strength. And then when Russell came in, I thought, what was it, 6-1? And so I'm like, okay, these guys are looking good. But it's the totality has to come into play. You can't just critique the quarterback when they lose, and it's just unfortunate because at the end of the day, they do give them all the praise when they win. So I guess, that's what you got to take.
And being that your household is still half Steelers related, what's your thoughts on the Steelers moving on possibly and getting Kirk Cousins? Because that's all the talk everybody's talking about today.
First of all, I think we need to stop with the Russell Wilson slander. I think it's absolutely abhorrent. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's completely unnecessary. The truth of the matter is Russell Wilson is one of the greatest quarterbacks of his generation. You can say whatever you want about him. And no, quarterbacks technically don't play defense, but Russell Wilson is be playing defense on and off the court, trying to keep Sierra because he knows that if he loses this job, she going back to future. So there's a lot of pressure.
He's going back to the future. That's hilarious.
I'm trying to get y'all to understand. This man has 200 yards. He 20 for 29, and he's got to generate 1.21 gigawatts. Otherwise, Sierra is definitely going back to the future, 70 miles an hour.
Here we go. Big O, this is what I got to deal with. This is what I got to deal with.
Oh my God.
This is what I got to deal with. All right, so being that we talked about the Steelers, everything else, we got to talk about the Minnesota Vikings game, man. We just have to talk about that because Sam Darnold, he got mugged last with the 9 sacks, and today on all the talk shows, everybody's talking about that it was his fault. To me, honestly, I think the offensive line should be the one taking most of the blame. It shouldn't be Sam Darnold. He tried, but how much can you do if you're getting sacked 9 times and getting another 10 more rushes? You know what I mean? Like, what's your thoughts on Sam Darnold?
I'm taking all my damn gifts back from the linemen. Whatever I gave them, I'm taking back. The hell with that shit. I kept receipts. That's ridiculous, man. That's what I'm saying. You can't put it all on Sam Darnold. Some of them, yeah, maybe he could have thrown it, just throw it to the sidelines or whatever. But it's like in the moment, you're not thinking that. You're thinking, I can't let this ball go. And so the play calling was horrendous. And the offensive line, it's almost like they were mad at him. And did he look like old New York Jets Sam Darnold? Absolutely. But I don't believe he's old New York Jets Sam Darnold. And so to me, it was rough for them. And again, they went up against a team that was playing for more than just football. Like I said earlier, they were playing for LA. They were playing for the fire victims. Sometimes that's all somebody needs is that motivation, man. That's bigger than the sport. And they came out there and just, like you said earlier, they opened up a can. And it was insane. But that nine sacks.
Nine sacks.
That's not all on the quarterback.
In 2001, Dave, the New England Patriots ended up having to play in the Super Bowl couple of weeks after 9/11.
Yeah.
They were catapulted throughout the entire season because of what 9/11 did. You know, the name of the Patriots, everybody's using the Patriots as the name, everything else. I'm only saying that and bringing that up because I saw a couple of articles today when people are catapulting the Rams name with actually everything that happened after the fires. You know, a catastrophe happens and it can catapult a team like the 2001 Patriots. Do you think the LA Rams victory last night over the Vikings was catapulted from the catastrophe from the fires, or you think it's just the Rams is going to kick them behind whether the fires was there or not?
No, I think it's something. I think it's something absolutely extra magical when you got something to prove. I'll give you a more relevant example. Just last year, I co-wrote a book with Master P. Shout out to P. The funny thing is, in 2006, Master P got booked, and I don't know who did it or who the genius was who thought it was a good idea to book Master P on Dancing with the Stars. And Master P was arguably the worst dancer on Dancing with the Stars since Jerry Springer. And this is my guy. Like, this is my friend. I tell him to his face. He know he can't dance. That's not his strength. But the thing of it is, you know, Master P was asked by all the judges as to what got into him. Said, man, I'm doing this for New Orleans, baby. And Master P sailed through. He ain't win, but he bought himself a couple of weeks. I need everybody to calm down in this LA Swell situation right now. I'm not saying the Rams are not a good team. They're a great team. I'm not saying what they did wasn't anything short of phenomenal, but put it in the context of the fact that LA is burning and everybody is like, we don't know where the water is. And everybody's looking for Billy Joe to go, we didn't start the fire. So this is a nice distraction for everything that's happening right now. It's celebrities can't nobody find. And I'm not talking about on a mat. It's scary right now. So this was a brilliant distraction. But let's calm down and poor Sam Darnold. Where was the offensive line, bro? I ain't seen an offensive line not show up like this since Willie Beeman got his ass kicked in the Pantheon Cup.
You know, I'm trying to tell you, not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs. Not that bad. Like I see the regular season, but not in the playoffs.
Like he didn't have his invisible juice on, Frank.
That's what I'm saying. Big O, though. Everybody's overlooking the Rams, though. The Rams got a good, you know, they play really well. They playing the Lions this week, but the Rams, do you think they stand a chance? Like, what's your thoughts? Because they looked really good with now that their wide receivers got healthy. What's your thoughts?
Well, I like them. And, you know, Sam Darnold had already made the statement that he's looking forward to playing the Lions. Totally overlooked the Vikings, which should have been motivation for the Vikings, but it wasn't. They got to him, I think, one or two times. No, a couple times they got to him. But it was insane, the fact that, you know, he can make that statement and it, you know, happened. So I think this is going to be reminiscent. I can't remember the year because I know they went in there and played with Jared Goff. And when he played against his former team, he did not look good. And Matthew Stafford has and always has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And he has solid pieces around him. Nakua, you know, Kupp, all those guys are solid players, man. So the Lions, you got to get through the Rams. You're going to have to get through that. So whatever demons you need to exercise, it's going to happen against the Rams.
Yeah, I can't even deny a word he said because honestly, the Rams look really good, but you know, the Lions is next week. The Lions is one step above to what they fought against that. So Dave, I know you have something to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're not gonna believe this, but my wife is actually from Michigan. So I swear to God, I'm not making this up. She's from Michigan and she's a Steelers fan. I don't know what to tell you, but I think Detroit is fired up, bro. I think that this is the team that we have been waiting for Detroit to be for 15 years, and I think they finally got all the pieces in place, and it's going to take something absolutely miraculous to stop that level of hunger and that level of skill. That's my take. It might not be everybody's, but that's how I feel about it. I think Detroit has something to prove, and I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal to watch.
And you know what's crazy? They've done all this after losing Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to decimate them.
Yes.
I thought they were done because this guy is the heart and soul of that defense. And they just kept going. And then Montgomery goes out.
Yep.
And they find a way. So, I mean, to the greatness of Jahmyr Gibbs, my goodness.
Yeah.
But so I honestly think the Lions are a team of destiny. And, you know, we'll see. But again, to exercise those demons, it goes through the line through the Rams.
Mm-hmm. And one of my most exciting games of the weekend, man, has to be the Washington Commanders game. I think Jaden Daniels. I Big O, being that you are again an ex-athlete, is this how you start to build? Because to me it is. But is this how you start to build the legend of your career? Because I don't think I've ever seen a rookie play like that, and I don't think I've ever seen a rookie play like in the playoffs and have the excitement of the game. Maybe since Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? Maybe since then. But I honestly think he even eclipsed Russell Wilson in the playoff, that playoff game that Russell Wilson won. I think he even eclipsed that. What's your take on that, Big O?
Listen, this kid has been phenomenal. And while you were talking, I was listening, but and I did it last week, the week before, and the week before, trying to figure out who has had a better rookie year than this young man. And it's hard. I mean, Mahomes didn't have a great rookie year like that.
No.
And so to me,
the bench is rookie year, right? Wasn't he?
It's just insane that he's playing. The best part about him, and I picked this up early in the season, he always had a smile on his face.
Mm-hmm.
The man gets tackled, he smiles. He throws an errant pass, which were far and few in between. He was still smiling. And so to me, I was like, okay, he's comfortable. He came into the NFL comfortable. He was not panicky. A lot of these young guys, they get real panicky. They got happy feet and everything else. Not him. He knew exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So the Commanders, they struck gold with him.
100. Dave, here's the interesting thing, Dave.
Yeah.
The Commanders have Jaden Daniel. Jaden Daniel ends up scoring. He does his thing. He gets okay. Absolutely nobody thought the Commanders were going to shock the world at all. I think this kid could be on pace to overtake Lamar Jackson at some point in time in the career. You know what I mean? Because he's similar style, plays just as good, everything else. Is this the beginning of Jaden Daniels and I want to say legendary career? What we're seeing right now?
Oh my gosh! Hopefully, my brother-in-law is not watching. He is a diehard Washington Redskins. Whatever they're identifying with today. I don't know if they identify as a full team, but the football team. But they're absolutely transformational. And Frank,
because I'm reading between the lines of his jokes.
Yeah.
Frank, I got to be honest with you and tell you that, I think this kid is going to be a legend.
Oh.
I do. I think I hate when I tell you the only person I hate more than a Washington Commanders fan is a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I mean, it depends on the day of the week, but this kid, he's fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch, and that's the thing. And my whole thought process, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but even if you're making league minimum, you're making more than the top 5% of what the average American earns to play a game you've loved since you were a child. To do it at an elite level, you should be getting up, smiling every down like Flavor Flav after the roast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't have a problem in the world, because guess what? You're going to get the best medical coverage. You've already got your situation together. You know everybody loves you. You're not going to have anything going on that you shouldn't. So yeah, like, I would enjoy this time. And I think when you actually have a passion for the sport and you put the agents aside and you shut the front office up and you stop listening to the offensive coordinator of the week, because those things continue to just turn over, like Sexy Red at Boys Town, you begin to understand the importance of the enjoyment of the game, Frank. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And I actually think this kid is going to be a legend. Mark what I say.
Yeah. All right. I got to talk about one last game. I want to throw out there a minute and talk about the Bills before we jump into the NBA, because I got some questions I can't wait to ask you about the NBA, but especially after this weekend. But the Bills ended up having a game against the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix looked really good for the first 5 minutes. After that, he disappeared. The Broncos disappeared. What was your take on how dominant the Bills looked over the Broncos moving forward? Because the Bills are playing the Ravens this week, bro. The Bills are playing the Ravens. What's your take, Big O?
Well, I just thought that the Buffalo Bills were the better team, even though the Broncos scored that first touchdown. And then it comes to find out after the game that apparently Bo Nix had a fractured back. And so for this young man to play with a fracture of any sorts, it speaks well to his future and how good he can be. He's a talent, and so but Buffalo Bills they're the better team. Josh Allen, oh my goodness, he's insane. So it's gonna come down to he and Lamar Jackson for the MVP, of course, and maybe there's gonna be one of those situations where hey, Lamar's gotten it a couple of times. Let's get it to Josh this time. We've seen that happen in all sports, so why not? And but if he got it, it's not like I would say, oh, he doesn't deserve it. So, but Buffalo, again, top to bottom, they're one of those teams, man. They prime and ready to make a run at the Super Bowl.
Dave, after I saw the game, Dave, one of the things that I took away was, boy, I feel sorry for whoever's playing the Bills. Then I was like, oh, it's the Ravens. Okay. Okay. So, so there we go. But what's your take on the way the Bills beat the Broncos and how they size up against the Ravens?
Well, my main thing is the Bills are number 2. Point blank and period. They've always been a solid franchise. This year, they have gone above and beyond, making very few errors. And so I expected what I saw. And when I think about this situation with the Ravens, Eddie Murphy in 1997, dressed as an old woman with an ugly, ugly ass wig on, said, "This ain't gonna be no easy win. You can walk over, but you're limping back." I don't think that this is going to be as cut and dry because the Ravens are angry. And I don't know if you've ever had an underdone half and half in a chicken box in Baltimore, but I will tell you, it'll piss you off. And I feel like they're more pissed off than an ugly girl at the Inner Harbor who got stood up for a half and half day with a chicken box and you know what I'm saying? So with no hot sauce. So I'm waiting to see how this plays out. I don't think it's going to be an upset or a blowout, but I do think that the Bills will take it. And I think what you saw with them going over the Broncos is indicative of what we're going to see Sunday at 6:30.
See, I'm nervous about that game too because the Bills got stomped by the Ravens a couple weeks ago. So I'm nervous about the game, but I also know this, Big O. I'm not leaving it at this. I also know this. It's really hard to beat a team twice in the NFL. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what league you in. I don't care what division you're in. It's really hard to beat the same team twice. You know what I mean? Unless you're the Jets.
I mean, it's doable. It's hard, but it's still doable. And I just believe that also with this game, the winner of this game wins the MVP.
Yeah,
because you can't give it to the guy that loses within this game.
Yeah,
you just can't. It would make no sense. No pragmatic sense, that is, because now you got a guy continuing on, and you give it the guy who lost the MVP. Because if you're really the MVP, your team has advanced. So it's going to be tricky for the writers and the voters.
Right. All right. So let me switch over and let me switch gears and jump into the NBA because a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. I watched a couple of games this weekend, and one question that I had specific for you last week, and I was hoping for you to jump in the show. And now that you're here, I'm gonna drop it on your lap. Steph Curry and Golden State looking really bad. The Lakers are looking really bad. They're both of them looking bad together. You know where I'm going with this, bro. You know where I'm going with this. Detroit's looking really good. You got certain teams looking really good. Jimmy Butler, he's getting ready to come back from his 7-game suspension. We got 2.5 or 3.5 weeks left to go before the draft, before the trade deadline happens. Do you see any team like the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, maybe the Houston Rockets? I'm throwing Houston out there because Houston, I think, is one player away. Do you see any of these teams making a seismic shift trade before the trade deadline? Because the Lakers are still going nowhere. Golden State Warriors are getting worse. What's your thoughts, Big O?
They're gonna make a trade. Everybody's got to make a trade. If you're trying to win championships, as you say, specifically like the Warriors, because Steph has said it. That's the only objective. The rest of his career, he's trying to get one more. They can't win a championship with the team they have. It's trash. I don't care. They are. I mean, there's a bunch of players they could have gotten. If they threw Podziemski in there and. I mean, Aaron Wiggins is a dead man walking because they just can't find anybody to take that contract. So I'm like, they got to make a move. At some point in time, they have to make a move. The Lakers should have made a move 2-3 years ago. They still haven't made the move that they need to make. They make these little trades, like getting rid of D'Angelo Russell. That's not a big enough trade, to get Dorian Finney-Smith. I like him, but you already have a guy sitting on the bench who's just like Finney-Smith, and that's Jared Vanderbilt. So to me, you have to make a seismic shift trade, and get Anthony Davis out of that damn 5 spot. He is not a 5. I don't give a damn if you go, positionless in basketball. Anthony Davis does not belong playing a 5 position or guarding big, powerful centers like Joker and everybody else. It's insane.
And Dave, to piggyback on what he said, here's the funny part. The Lakers made a trade and they got worse since they made the trade. Usually you're supposed to get better, but they got worse since they made the trade. So
there's a few things here, Frank. The first thing is we have to talk about LeBron. Okay. One of the greatest basketball players to have ever picked up a basketball. You cannot take it from him. But as a general manager, he absolutely sucks. LeBron has absolutely no business in the front office whatsoever. I mean, how fast? I'm just asking for a friend. This is in no way, shape, or form hate because I hate the Lakers, but I'm just asking, how fast did they pat Bronny to the G League? Like, he does spot dates like David Ruffin would do when he came off his Coke and crack bench to go standing on the top, looking down. Like, what are we doing?
That's terrible.
And then the other part of that is, just to switch gears for a minute, Steph Curry is like Michael Jordan 83. Great player, phenomenal player, shoot the lights out, make the big plays, but he has nobody. And if everybody knows all we got to do is give the ball to Curry, then there's a problem there. And I'm not going to say the problem is the coach, but I'm saying we need some type of offense. We also need some type of big man, and we also need some people who can move in and out of that paint and circulate the ball around a little bit, because it's real cute that Steph can grab some popcorn from the stands and shoot one-handed 50,000 feet away, but it's not working in order to win games. This entire landscape makes no sense. And then don't even get me started on AD, because if anything, Bert from Sesame Street needs to shave that eyebrow.
Either that eyebrow, huh? That one eyebrow?
It's a unibrow, Frank. They identify as a unis.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not even gonna touch that. Big O, here we go with one of the biggest NBA rumors that's circling around. And I'm sure you probably heard this. The Pelicans are trying to get out from under Zion Williamson. The reason why I brought up the Lakers is because guess who's getting connected to Zion Williamson? It's the Lakers. Do you see the Lakers making the trade for Zion? And if not, where does Zion land? Because Zion, I think, is going to get traded. I just don't know where.
I don't know anymore because the Knicks was his choice. But that didn't happen. So ever since then, he's been pouting and eating himself out the NBA. And I don't know. I could see him maybe in Houston. I look around the league. If they send him somewhere, it's going to be to a team that's not a contender. They just want to get him out of there. But again, I've been hearing the Laker rumors. But okay, so where's he going to play? Because that's LeBron's position, and you cannot have this young talent. And he still has some good years left. If he can just get himself in shape, they need to send his ass to me. I will get him right. And I don't need a lot of time. But if he gets to the Lakers, let's just suppose he gets to the Lakers. LeBron commands so much. That's why whenever you see guys leave, they get better from under LeBron's thumb. It just happened because you play freer. When LeBron sits out in street clothes, the Laker team looks better. They play a different style of basketball, a lot freer. And so to me, but no one wants to talk about that big elephant in the room. This man, I think he's going to play till he's 50. But at the end of the day, I do not want to see a 50-year-old LeBron playing basketball. I don't even want to see a 40-year-old LeBron play basketball anymore. You've done all you can do, man. Now this is just over. I like to use that word overkill because that's what it is. Right now, you're just doing way too much, and I think it's going to tarnish his legacy.
Big O, would you trade LeBron?
I would trade LeBron, but where are you going to trade him to? That's the whole thing. That's why he was able to get his son to the Lakers. He's in such a powerful position right now. He can ask for whatever and do whatever. He's in control. Nobody else. That's why, Dave said he's the general manager. He is the GM of that team.
I can't even dispute the thing you're saying. Dave, take that question, bro. Would you trade LeBron if you the Lakers? Would you trade him?
Who going to, bro? I would kill to have had LeBron 10 years ago here in Philly. That'd have been great. I mean, even if you could have, can you imagine a team with Okay, like a couple years ago when we had Harden. Can you imagine Harden, LeBron? Bro, I don't even care about winning the game. I just care about butts and seats, bro. I'm just telling you. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants the headache. First of all, LeBron, you know how like King Midas, everything he touched turned to gold? Everything LeBron has touched in the past 5 years has turned to absolute hot trash truck juice, or better yet, respectfully, hamster vomit, Frank. He ruined Space Jam. I have a 25-year-old daughter and I have a 9-year-old daughter. And you know, both of them love Space Jam, and they both love the one with Jordan because the one with LeBron absolutely sucked. And you know why it absolutely sucked? Because LeBron made it about his kid. And then they hired somebody because Bronny couldn't act. Just like they hired somebody and realized that Bronny can't play as well in high pressure situations. LeBron is doing damage to the legendary Lakers team, bro. We got to stop acting like just because he's phenomenal and he's one of the greatest, that he doesn't suck in everything else. He has started to realize. You ever see somebody and they know they got it, so they just go, they walk around, they talk to their boss crazy because they're the ones keeping the lights on. That's what he's doing, and it's bringing down the tarnish or the varnish on the franchise. People go to LA and say, "You want to go see an LA game? Yeah, the Clippers."
Yeah.
I know Big O like that.
It's really weird right now because he's right. I mean, it's too much, you know? And so to me, the Lakers have always been the franchise that you look at. It's like the Celtics and the Lakers, you know, and everybody else. And so right now, I mean, I don't see greatness from the Lakers. I see average.
Or below average. You could say below average too. Yeah. Big O, I think I want to focus on Detroit basketball because the Detroit Pistons have 14 clutch time wins this season. They're tied with the Cavs. Detroit and the Cavs are making some noise, and people aren't talking about the Detroit Pistons, and they're not talking about the Cleveland. You was?
I was.
Okay.
Before the season started, and you can go on Facebook and see when I said the team to watch out for this year that's going to surprise everybody is the Detroit Pistons. I said that, and it's happening because I saw what they were doing, you know, from especially what happened last year. You cannot continue that way. I know how the rotation of the league works. You know, you're going to go through the dry spots, but then when you get to that bottom, you know, losing like 20 plus games in a row, there's going to be a turnaround because it helps the league. And so I saw that coming, and Kay Cunningham, Thompson, all them guys, Durant, these guys are really talented young people. And so I called it. I was like, they're going to be surprised at the NBA. And then you have them, you have the Cavaliers. There's been a major shift, and no one's talking about it because we're still hung up on the Lakers and the Warriors and everybody. Hey, there's been a shift, and we need to acknowledge that shift. These young players are coming.
And I have to say, Dave, being that these youngins are playing, these youngins are coming, they're playing. Detroit, nobody's talking about Detroit, but I want to throw out this one player nobody's talking about. He's on your team, Tyrese Maxey. Nobody's talking about him either. And I'm only bringing it up because at the simple fact is, if it hadn't been for Tyrese Maxey, the Sixers would be trash right now. They would be beyond, and they're not the greatest, but Tyrese Maxey has the team on it. So if you're the Sixers right now, do you make a trade to try to get Zion on the Sixers? What do you do?
Again, this whole, and this has always been my issue, not just with Philadelphia sports, but sports in general, especially the NBA. We build around one guy. When I was a little kid, you remember this? Before Jordan did his deal with Nike, it was 5 top players endorsing Converse, doing commercials together, the whole 9. There was a time where it wasn't just about one player. It was about a myriad of players in the league. I think what happens is we don't build franchises. We build franchises around one person and make bobbleheads out of that one person and forget that there's still basketball that needs to be played out here. Tyrese Maxey is a phenomenal, once-in-a-generation talent. I'm going to go like this. Dr. J, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. I feel like this is the kid. But if you don't put the right people around him, he's going to wind up just like Iverson. a guy who had all the potential in the world. And if you know anything about acorns, become oaks, Frank. But the truth of the matter is 95% of them become squirrel crap. So if you don't have anything in order to nurture and build that potential, it becomes unrealized squirrel poop, bro. And that's what's happening there. Now, the other thing that I wanted to touch on, because I'm 100% with O on this, everybody has been sleeping on the Pistons to the point where after that game against the Knicks was quietly sending a couple players to the G Leagues. They started making some changes because Detroit put on a clinic. And that's what they've been doing low key all week. But everybody's over here worrying about the light skins and the legends and not paying attention to the kids who actually want to play some ball.
Yeah.
No offense about the light skin thing, Frank.
But also with these guys, you know, you get Paul George, but you're not getting Paul George 10 years ago. Just like you said about LeBron. You're not getting LeBron from 10 years ago. And that's the thing. I can't keep thinking I'm going to get this same player and accepting the, you know, different results, you know, because I don't have those same players anymore. Your game, it hasn't passed you by, but you guys are on the downward. You're on the outwards of your careers. And I think that's what people tend to forget is the fact that LeBron, he's still going to put up some numbers and we're going to be, oh my God, a 40-year-old doing all this, but it's not the same LeBron. It's not the same LeBron that commanded the respect and fear of players where he's going to take you to the championship. You know, Steph Curry's still knocking down threes. I watched the game last night. He shot more short jumpers than I've seen in a long time because he's getting older. He's tired. That's a lot of jump shots. You know, Paul George. And I'm going to say this, Dave. I'm sorry. I know they're your team, but I have never seen a worse big man MVP in my life than Joel Embiid.
I don't argue facts, though.
I've never seen a big guy fall on the ground more than anybody. Like in my life, I've never seen that. I'm like, this dude's insane. You know, it's like, dude, you're an MVP. You're one of the best players. But when he lost me was when he said he had a better skill set than Akeem Olajuwon, and he was more dominant than Shaquille. That's when I thought that boy was crazy.
Well, so you also have to take, not to cut you off, Frank, but I have to say this to respectfully, because you're a legend, and I'm not going to take that away from you. There's two things that I think you need to keep in mind. Number one, Joel Embiid comes from a generation that has been hyped up on playing games where they don't have to keep score and they can identify as fruit. So as a result of that, they have an overinflated sense of self. You know, it's like when it's like when John Lennon said that the Beatles were bigger than Jesus. I'm gonna need everybody to calm down here. Like, especially when you're this dude, Samuel L. Jackson in Unbreakable has had less injuries statistically than Joel Embiid. And then the other part of that is who's coaching? You would understand this. You're an NBA legend. Who is coaching this man? I mean, individually, as far as strength and conditioning goes, because from what I understand, nobody is speaking grape ape. Every time it's been,
oh my God!
Okay. All right, this is my team. I thought this was boxing.
Oh my God!
You don't sound like grape ape.
He's killing me.
Oh my God! He went there.
He did. He's killing me. All right. Oh, let me ask you this, because I wanted to get this in me, and I'm looking at the time. I have a couple more questions I wanted to ask, but I definitely want to squeeze this one in, change the subject a little bit. We talk about the NBA All-Star Game, and I wrote this question for you last week. So
and we get it. I was in here last week.
I'm sorry. How would you do it? How would you change it? What would you do?
NBA All-Star Game?
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not going to no damn 4-team format, and then a rookie team or a young team in there. It's absurd. What you do is this. Hey, you either play or you don't get selected. We'll get people in here who wants to play basketball for that one day. These guys are so freaking insane. I get it that yes, LeBron, you've played 22 years. I get it. Then step aside and let somebody else play.
So how would you do it?
Don't select you as an MVP. That's the problem, man. These guys think they can just do whatever the hell they want and mess up the game. They have not taken pride in the fact that fans selected them, coaches select you for the reserves, but it's a showcase of showing appreciation. The crap we saw last year was not appreciation. That was a middle finger to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing 4-team formats. I'm not doing us against the world. We are the world. None of that. No, we are going to say, hey, everybody else in the past used to do it because the money was different. And that's the key component. You know, when a guy made the All-Star team back in the 80s and 90s, 2000, it was like, hey, I need this 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, I'm making 40 million. What the hell I need this for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the only thing that has to change is the mentality. Have some pride, fellas. Have some pride.
So it sounds like, Dave, that he would stick with the East versus West. You know, I'd make some changes. I love the East versus West. You know what I mean?
Right.
What changes would you make NBA All-Star Weekend? And do you want me to go first? What changes I would make, or you want to just dive in?
No, you go ahead, Frank. I can wait. I know exactly where I go. Go ahead, please. I'm
Changes I would make. I'd make the NBA, and I said this. I would make the NBA G League All-Stars play against the NBA rookies on Friday night. I would have one-on-ones, you know, best players play all day on Saturday leading up to the slam dunk competition. And unlike what O would like, I would like the NBA All-Stars playing against the European All-Stars on Sunday. That would be my All-Star game because I think pride would set in and it would motivate the players. That's what I think I would do. You know what I mean? Because right now you go to an NBA gym anywhere out where these players play, and they play harder in the NBA gym than they do in the All-Star game. That's a fact. That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I like those changes. There's a couple I'd like to make. The first thing I would like to do, number one, we need to have a better groupie selection. I think what's happening over time at the NBA All-Star games, that the quality of groupies has gone absolutely down. I think we need to come up with some type of special release for Diddy, and him and LeBron can start doing the first annual NBA All-Star Thought Survey. I think that would be incredible. Secondly, I think the other thing that we need to keep in mind is, respectfully, this is going to be LeBron's last All-Star game, because after the Diddy tapes drop, yeah, it's over for him. So I think we should relax on that. By the way, the slam dunk contest, let's just get rid of it. Let's just say, you know what? We've seen all the dunks we can see. We can. What I would like to do is see if there's some type of stretching challenge, some type of flexibility challenge, and we can begin to try and work on a calisthenics program so that Joel Embiid can either be wrapped in bubble or be able to move in a way that will not allow his fragile little self to keep breaking. How you big and little at the same time? How your ankles the size of my water bottle, and you just keep breaking?
God.
What?
Dave,
again, I've been trying to reach out. Every time I call him, it's all like,
You're stupid. He's stupid. But he got the last word. He got the last word.
Hey, I
Go
want
ahead,
to say this though. I mean, you know, I focus a lot on the game itself, but All-Star game, I like the one-on-one thing. I've been thinking about that. I think that would be a great concept to add. But slam dunk contest, I would open it. I would make it an open competition.
What do you mean?
There's a lot of great dunkers out there because the fans just want to be entertained.
Right.
Because a lot of these guys are in-game dunkers. They're not creative enough. There's a lot of creative guys out there doing YouTube videos and TikToks and everything else. I would bring like the top 5, you know, have a fan vote for that, and then have those guys come in and do dunks, and, you know, and entertain the crowd. Because a lot of, like I said, these NBA players are making so much money. They don't want to partake in a lot of this stuff like Jordan and Wilkins used to do. They don't want to do that anymore. Definitely keep the three-point shooting, because to me, that's become the marquee spot. But hold up, to your whole thing about the world versus us, the world would destroy us. Because think about it. Joker, Giannis, Shea, Luka. I mean, come on now. You putting all those guys on one team? The Europeans are here. Europeans are here to stay.
That's what I would do.
And they take this thing seriously. They take pride in it. You know, and so that's why, you know, when all this thing shifted for the NBA, when they got mad at Russell Westbrook. When Russell Westbrook played in the All-Star game and he played as if it was a regular season game, it was like, oh, hell no. We got to get this guy out of here. We can't have him coming in here because nobody else wanted to play. That was the beginning of the downfall for the NBA.
I don't even remember that. I gotta look this back up. I don't even remember that.
Russell Westbrook was full speed, 100%, every possession, because that's the only way he knows how to play basketball, full speed ahead.
Yeah.
And these guys were looking at him like, oh, hell no, man. I ain't trying to chase him right now on my 5 days off.
Mm-hmm.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yep.
I gotta definitely look this up. Anyway, that's the show. We gotta get you to roll this up out of here. I definitely want to continue this conversation with you. I definitely want to. So we're gonna finish this up. Dave, tell everybody out there how they can follow you. And all the, I know you got 50 books you sold. So tell everybody about the 50 books.
Oh, damn.
Just 50? Damn,
no,
Frank.
I mean 50 books that you wrote. I meant 50 books you wrote.
It's 22, smart guy, but that's all right. No. So my latest book is Mastering Wealth with Master P. Phenomenal book. You can get it right now, businessbullyshow.com. You can continue to follow me on all social media platforms at The Business Bully. And I am touring, so I'll be at a comedy club or a college campus near you, making it happen. So I'm super excited. Glad to be back in box seats. Oh, what a pleasure to be able to work with you, bro. So yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you, Frank. This is very, very non-light skin of you. It's been great.
Oh, go ahead. You got your final word. Oh, what you thought?
Olden Polynese 1 on social media. I don't even know which one's which anymore. I don't care. I'm so done with social media. But I do want to say this. Since you are an author,
yes,
we
sir.
need to talk.
I got you.
Okay, off camera, I would love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Right, so you guys stay on when we get ready to end this up.
That's all I have to say.
Say that one more time.
I said, if you can make that connection, I would appreciate it.
Definitely will. Okay, guys. Thank you guys for watching the show. Big shout out to my man. I got to throw in White Chocolate here. White Chocolate, you got to say something to take us home. You got at least say something. You want to anything you want? No, he wasn't prepared to talk. And he's still not prepared to talk because he got his mic off. And he's still not. All right. I guess thank you for helping to produce.
You're killing me, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Not a Sandlot reference.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Thank you for helping to produce the show. Thanks to Kevin Kev for producing the show. He's backstage. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Dave. And let's get ready to take this home. See you guys tomorrow. Box Seats is on 5 to 6 on every day, Monday through Friday. We got to continue on talk this conversation about the NFL playoffs, the games coming up this weekend. Obviously, we have to talk about the stuff that's happening in the NBA. Some stuff is dramas happening in the land of Pittsburgh. Just a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
All right.
Take care. Peace.